Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you wherever you are in the world from your respective locations. Once again, you are warmly welcomed here on your beloved platform, the platform for awakening consciousness. Now, let's look at the top international news stories. On this May 12th, on the evening of May 12th, 2025, American President Donald Trump has just derailed the Europeans' project. This is still in relation to the prospect of peace between Russia and Ukraine. Trump continues to adamantly support Vladimir Putin's Russia. Yes, and this is despite the fact that Russia has rejected the ceasefire proposal, or rather, the ultimatum given to Russia to implement a mandatory ceasefire starting from this May 12th. And on its side, the European Union is crying, lamenting over everything that is happening after having considered continuing to financially support Ukraine with a lot of money to allow the conflict to go on. So, that's the top story in the news. In this video conference, ladies and gentlemen, these are the two topics we are going to discuss. So please share the video conference as much as possible. Thank you for giving lots of likes. And above all, don't forget the Bobo Pet. The more you share, the more visibility the video conference gets, the more views it receives. Yes, it gives strength to the video. The more you hit like, the more strength it gives. Let's dive deeper. So, what needs to be said? Trump derailed the European project by supporting direct negotiations with Russia, according to The Guardian, a Western media outlet. According to The Guardian, European leaders, including the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, the Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, French President Emmanuel Macron, and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, intended to pressure the United States to impose severe sanctions on Moscow for its refusal to agree to a 30-day ceasefire. That is their intention. They made this clear when they were in Kiev on May 10th. They requested, this was yesterday, May 11th, they requested that the United States of America come to their aid. So they wanted to impose their will on Russia. And if Russia refused the 30 days, that Russia should be severely sanctioned. But Donald Trump did not follow them. Donald Trump preferred to place his hope in May 15. If you're searching for something in the air and you find it under your feet, you're not going to take it. That's an African proverb. For a long time, we have been searching for peace between Russia and Ukraine. We keep wondering when the two will come together. That's Trump's philosophy, actually. And they tell you, well, on May 15th, come, let's talk directly. You say, no, we can't go unless you announce a ceasefire on May 12th. How many days are there between the 12th and the 15th? 13th, 14th, 15th, just 3 days. What do they want? Yet, Russia has already shown its willingness by establishing a 3-day ceasefire. You see, Donald Trump understood that those Europeans really don't want peace to happen. So they've just derailed their own plan. Yes. So, what was their plan? What was their objective? To convince Donald Trump that Putin was just trying to buy time, as Macron often says, and that the United States had no political choice but to ramp up economic pressure. However, Donald Trump supported the idea of direct negotiations between Ukraine and Russia in Turkey. That's what spoiled the coordinated European strategy. And Donald Trump himself even announced that at a press conference on the evening of May 12, 2025, that he plans to go to Istanbul on the 15th. He even said that he believes this meeting will yield very good results. So, sources indicated that President Zelensky had no choice but to accept Putin's invitation to negotiations in Istanbul, fearing he would alienate Trump. Putin's maneuver, which apparently aimed to avoid a negative reaction from the United States and to block any new European pressure. So he has no choice. According to the Guard, Zelensky is forced to agree, because if he refuses, he will put himself in a very bad position with Donald Trump. Since even though Russia rejected the 30-day ceasefire, Donald Trump supported Russia. So, who is Zelensky not to support and not to align himself with what Trump has said? There you have it. So now, the Europeans' dream has been shattered. And on the other side, the lamentations are beginning. The main countries of the European Union, the European Commission, and the United Kingdom expressed during a meeting in London on May 12th their support for a 30-day truce in Ukraine, while also promising to increase pressure on Russia and to intensify arms deliveries to Kiev. This is the approach they have come up with to put pressure on Russia to accept the ceasefire. That is to say, let me remind you once and for all, ladies and gentlemen. In other words, they want us to say that everything comes from them. That's it. It's an ego problem. They don't want people to say that it was the Americans who managed to bring peace, but rather that it was Europe. So they have their own strategy. But as for Donald Trump, he has already understood their strategy. The statement was made by the foreign ministers of France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain, and the United Kingdom, as well as by the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs. So, here is what they said. But it's a lost cause. It's a lost cause. What America has decided is what will be done. In any case, we are waiting to see what Zelensky will do next. The more time passes, the more he will come out again. He will speak to us. We'll see what comes of it. What remains clear is that all eyes are on the meeting in Istanbul on May 15th. Now, if Zelensky refuses to leave, the whole world will be watching, including America. Everyone will be watching Ukraine. And with a critical eye, that's what it's about. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the top story of the news. Thank you for sharing it as much as possible. I'll be back with you shortly. This was the voice of your one and only samurai.